Audio check. I know it's pretty loud.
Paddle?
No, no, no. Actual light.
No, the candle. Look at the four candles.
Oh, okay.
It's right behind. See if they can turn up just that.
Okay.
There's an Armin thing.
There's an Armin thing.
I'll find it. I got it.
Okay. Audio check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2. White House TV. Are you getting me? Check 1, 2. White House TV. Good. Audio. Cuts riser. You guys good? Audio check. 1, 2. Press riser. Cuts. Are you guys good? You good? Okay.
See the chandelier here. See how it's behind the paddle. So I'm gonna turn that off. That was more. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Totally fine.
Honored guests, the Vice President of the United States and Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff, accompanied by Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. Honored guests, the President of the United States and Dr. Jill Biden, accompanied by Javier Gomez.
Thank you, everyone. Finally, we're all back at the White House together. And doesn't this feel great? Kamala, Doug, Joe, and I are honored to welcome you to this year's White House Pride celebration. And truly, it's so wonderful to be with so many friends. You know, early in the campaign, Doug Chaston and I had the chance to come together for a Pride event. Do you remember that? I do. And it was, yes.
In Las Vegas, I remember.
So it was late on a warm October night in Las Vegas, and we were all candidates' spouses at the time, but there was an energy in the air that brought us all together, and we had the chance to get to know one another. And we made a promise then that our next Pride celebration would be on the South Lawn of the White House. And now here we are once again, but it was just a little too hot and humid out there to be on the lawn. So every year that we gather here in our nation's capital is a reminder of just how far we've come, that we have LGBTQ leaders at some of the highest levels of government. That we can gather to celebrate all of you. That your president and I are proud to stand with you and fight beside you. But we know that this progress hasn't reached everyone in the same way. We know that in places across the country, like Florida, Texas, or Alabama, rights are under attack. And we know that in small towns and big cities, prejudice and discrimination still lurk. It shouldn't take courage to be yourself. It shouldn't take courage to go to school and walk down the halls as the person you know you are. It shouldn't take courage to hold the hand of the person you love on a bus, to kiss them goodbye on the sidewalk, to share one of the most fundamental and beautiful connections that any one of us can have in this life. It shouldn't, but too often and in too many places, it still does. And in some way, all of you here today have called on that courage. And you've used your voice to say, we will not go back. The progress that we fought for slip away. Pride is a celebration of the courage it takes to stand up for what's right, to become the leaders we need to live an authentic life. We recognize it as an act of bravery and beauty, of daring and defiance, and we look forward to a time when that courage is no longer needed, when all people in all places can feel the freedom and the joy that we feel here today. What Joe said 10 years ago was right. Love is love. Joe and I are grateful for all of you, and we will never stop working for that future. So now I'm so proud to introduce our next speaker. I'm always impressed when young people are brave enough to come to the White House and speak in front of so many leaders. But after organizing a walkout at his high school to protest the Don't Say Gay bill, leading a rally of his peers, and publicly sharing his own story, I'm pretty sure that speaking at today's celebration is nothing he can't handle. Please welcome Javier Gomez. Yes, we press the light.
Thank you, Dr. Biden. I'm honored to be with you today, an educator who champions students, as well as with the President, Vice President, and Second Gentleman. My name is Javier Gomez. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm honored to be here with you all today. I'm an 18-year-old, proud, gay, Venezuelan American from Miami, Florida. I graduated high school last week, and next fall, I will attend the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. Oh my God, the Vice President told me it was a big deal. Oh my God. When I was 5 years old, I knew I was different. I knew I liked boys, but I didn't know the words for it. I was mocked and bullied for being too gay, too feminine, or too outgoing. Those words silenced me. But I had an escape from this. My openly gay 5th grade teacher. He created a classroom that made me feel welcomed. I even remember noticing his rainbow socks. It was a small but big symbol that gave me hope. As I grew older, coming out was a rocky process. But my 5th grade teacher provided me the support I needed to understand my identity. I fear other students in Florida and across the country would not be able to get the same support because of hateful legislation like the Don't Say Gay bill. But my presence here is a testament that we are fighting back. Because our lives are glorious, beautiful, and worthy. We deserve respect and love. And until we have that, we will continue to fight for liberation. For months, I've been proud to work side by side with fellow students and allies in the community to fight back against this legislation that seeks to make schools in my state a more dangerous and hostile place to be LGBTQ+. We have traveled endless hours to Tallahassee to advocate and testify against the Don't Say Gay bill. We organized school-wide walkouts and rallies. And we looked into the eyes of those pushing this cruel and dangerous legislation and said, it's okay to be gay. I'm fighting for the next little Javier, so he doesn't have to cry himself to sleep every night, aching that he wakes up normal. To all the supportive parents, youth activists, teachers, and allies, I am proud to stand here today with you and with a true leader. A leader who is not just speaking up for us, but standing up for us with action against these extreme attacks. While the governor of my state has turned his back on young LGBTQ+ people and our families, I'm proud to stand here today with a leader who does have our back. It is my greatest honor to introduce the 46th President of the United States of America, President Joe Biden.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband and Valerie Biden's brother. And let me start off by saying, Javier, when you're president and they say, Joe Biden's out in the waiting room, promise me you won't say Joe who. Okay. Thank you for that introduction, Javier, and for your incredible leadership and at such a young age down in Florida. You know, who knows, maybe, as I said, someday you'll be standing here. And Jill just mentioned, along with Kamala and Doug, it's great to see so many friends, and I mean that, friends here in Pride Month, here in the White House. Speaker Pelosi is here, God love her. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer from New York. Senator Tammy Baldwin is here, too. Congressman Dave Cicilline is here. And the senator who took my seat in the United States Senate, a guy named Chris Coons. Chris. And other members of the Equality Caucus. There are too many other people to mention by name. I shouldn't probably have started, but I want to say I acknowledge Judy and David Shepard, parents of Matthew Shepard. We spent some time together at a very difficult time, and at the time. And what you've done and what Matthew did and what all of us are, I mean, look what's happened. In no small part because of you. I mean that sincerely. It's good to see you both again. It really is. And by the way, it's almost exactly 7 years since the Supreme Court affirmed marriage equality in America. And Jim, you called me on the steps of the Supreme Court after that Where's Jim? There you go. You call me. I got this phone call when the court decision came down, and Jim was standing on the, I think you were on the steps of the Supreme Court when you called me. And you said, well, we did it. We did it. We did it. The victory is not just for you and John, but for the whole country. The whole country. And Jim, it's good to see you, pal. It really is. You know, and as a point of personal privilege, I want to acknowledge Sarah McBride. Sarah, where are you? Sarah used to work for our deceased son, Beau, in the Attorney General's office in Delaware. She's the first transgender state senator in history. And when I served as vice president, Sarah was an intern in the White House as well. That's why I kept my office going. And as I said, she also worked for our beloved son, Beau, as the Attorney General, and they passed, anyway, they did a lot. They did a lot together. Sarah, you're wonderful to see you, kiddo. Look, last year we hosted this event, and the message is simple. Pride is back at the White House. It really is. And from day one, this has been the most pro-equality administration in history, led by guys like Pete Buttigieg. And so many others. I think we have more LGBTQ plus people than any administration or every administration combined. No, I really mean it. I really mean it. Because I promised when I got elected, I wanted my administration to look like America across the board. And we've done that. A record number of out and proud appointees at every single level of our government. And as I said, you know, Secretary Buttigieg, who needs no introduction, is doing an outstanding job of rebuilding America. And I mean that in a literal sense, and not just in terms of what he's doing in transportation, but he's helping rebuild pride in America. And you know, and my public spokesman, Karine Jean-Pierre, is making history at the table. We're also joined by the Assistant Secretary of Health and Education and Human Services, Admiral Rachel Levin. And Undersecretary of Defense, Sean Steele. Where's the Undersecretary of Defense? There you go. Thank you very much for being here. The first and second transgender Americans to be Senate confirmed in American history. Let me say, as Commander-in-Chief, I'm proud to have ended the un-American ban on transgender Americans serving in our military. And just last week, the Department of Defense announced new policies allowing HIV-positive service members to finally be able to be deployed and commissioned. I'm also proud to have signed an executive order on my first day in office to combat discrimination against LGBTQI, plus Americans in housing, in healthcare, in education, in employment, financial services, and the criminal justice system. First thing I signed. And you know, no one knows better than the people in this room we have a lot more work to do. A lot more work to do. I don't have to tell you about the ultra-MAGA agenda attacking families and our freedoms. 300 discriminatory bills introduced in states across this country. In Texas, knocking on front doors to harass and investigate parents who are raising transgender children. In Florida, going after Mickey Mouse, for God's sake. That's right close to home. No, but think about this. All of you in this room know better than anyone that these attacks are real and consequential for real families. For real families. Just look at what happened in Idaho last weekend. 31 white supremacists stopped just before they reached the Pride celebration, where they apparently planned to unleash violence on people gathering peacefully in a show of their pride. I'm grateful for the swift response of law enforcement, and they responded. They responded. Violent attacks on the community, including ongoing attacks on transgender women of color, make our nation less safe because the attacks are more than ever last year, and they're on pace again this year. They're disgusting, and they have to stop. Right now, there are young people sitting in their bedroom, doors closed, silent, scrolling through social media, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they'll ever be loved, ever marry, ever have a family and be accepted by their own family sometimes. Our son started an organization before he died to make sure that people understood what it meant, going all around the country, letting people know, trying to train families, the mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters of LGBTQ plus people, that they have to reach out, embrace, and love their blood, allow them to be themselves, or whether they should even be here on earth, as a lot of folks wonder. I found my friends, some of my gay friends, I've asked them, what was it like as a kid? I can't imagine what it's like. Locking yourself in that room and wondering, just staring at the ceiling, just wondering. And I would note parenthetically that we owe an awful lot to those early folks who had the courage to stand up. No, I really mean it. The message then was not only could you be physically beaten, but you'd lose your job. You couldn't, we owe so many people. And my message to all the young people, just be you. You are loved. You are heard. You are understood. You do belong. And I want you to know that as your president, all of us on this stage have your back. We have your back. Receive who you are, made in the image of God and deserving dignity, respect, and support. Today, I'm about to sign an executive order that directs key federal agencies to protect our communities from those hateful attacks and advance equality for families. My order will use the full force of the federal government to prevent inhumane practices of conversion therapy. This is the first time. This is the first time the federal government is leading a coordinated response against this dangerous, discredited practice. The executive order will also support mental health for children by addressing bullying and suicide and making our schools safer. Addressing the nation's mental health crisis is a key pillar of the unity agenda I announced in the State of the Union address. My executive order also will take on discrimination that children and parents face in foster care. I'm also going to support older adults so they can age with dignity. And also, there's a lot there that aren't. And we'll also do so much to protect and support our fellow Americans. But Congress has to pass an act as well, and that's the Equality Act. Which will enshrine the long overdue civil rights that protects all Americans, every American. Let me close with this. We're in a battle for the very soul of this nation, and that's not hyperbole. We're in a battle for the soul of the nation. When I look around this room here and all you here today, it's a battle I know we will win. We will win. And we'll do so on the shoulders of so many people who are no longer with us, but who paved the way for us. People like Gloria Allen, known as Mama Gloria, who transitioned in 1950s and who passed away just 2 days ago. People like the legendary advocate, Mr. Vad. You know, I mean, you go back and think of the people who passed away last month from cancer and who once said, the gay rights movement is the integral part of the American promise of freedom. To all here today, Thank you for working to deliver the American promise of freedom. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Now I'm going to sign an executive order. Joining me will be a group of young people who are standing up for equity and a promise of freedom, as well as a few other folks. So, folks, thank you. I know you've been standing a long time. Just sort of lean against one another. You're so crowded. We'll all work out, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Advancing equality for liberation, for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex individuals. That's what I'm about to sign. And we usually give a pen to everyone who's part of this, but I only have one with me today, and Mr. President, it's yours. He yelled, "Joey, keep the faith." Our grandmother yelled, "No, spread the faith. Go spread it. Let's go." Good.